Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the good pastor, the Padre. You all know him. Let's give it up once again for the Father Joe Grimaldi podcast. Well, friends, it's that time of year again. It's the Lincoln Wish List event. And at Hoot McInerney Star Lincoln, you can enjoy the opportunity to build your Lincoln. That's right. Visit our showroom in Southfield, Michigan, or simply log on to starlincoln.com. You can build your Lincoln Corsair. How about a Nautilus, the Aviator, or the beautiful Navigator? Experience the power of Sanctuary in your custom-ordered Lincoln vehicle. You pick the color, the interior, the wheels, and you can choose between gas or your plug-in hybrid. The benefits that come from owning a Lincoln-certified pre-owned vehicle will exceed your expectations. Hoot McInerney Star Lincoln, located on 12 Mile Road, just east of Telegraph, in beautiful Southfield. Or you can always visit us at starlincoln.com. Star Lincoln, home of the Father Joe Star treatment. Well, it's that time of 2022 that I put you under the microscope, if you will, my friend. It's prediction time, and feel free to
predict.
To predict, and not only predict, but go on as long as you would like, all right? I'm going to put forth a couple of questions for you to ponder very quickly, and I will wait with bated breath to get your answers. Are you?
I'll do my best.
All right, Pastor.
That's all I can do.
Pastor Grimaldi, Father Grimaldi. Okay, now let's hope and pray, or hope or pray, that 2022 is the year of the COVID cure. Call it herd immunity. Everyone decides to get vaccinated. Will we come out of COVID-19, whenever it may be, but we're hoping it's 2022, and all of its variants, a more neurotic nation, country, world, divided, sad, angry? Or will we come out of it more positive, hopeful, and happy? Will we be angry birds, or will we be happy birds?
Somewhere in between, but go ahead.
Well, no. You can't do that to me.
Oh, I thought you had one question.
No, I worked up the question for you.
Okay, here we go.
No. And then I have the second part to the question, but you can't just go somewhere in between. That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody.
No.
See you next time on the Father Joe Grimaldi podcast.
No, I facetiously said that. But anyway, I think it is somewhere in between. Hope is a very, very important word, by the way.
Sure it is.
You can underline it 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. Because if we get a glimpse of something positive and good and happy, if we see something like that, there's always hope that that will develop into something wonderful. And maybe we'll never get to see it, but at least it's a beginning. It's a beginning. So we need to hope. That's the message in my mind that we have in the beginning of 2022. I think we need to hope, because as we see some progress, maybe there's a lot more progress ahead. I said somewhere in between earlier because we're living at a time when things seem to be spiking instead of disappearing. And yet we know that not as many people are dying from it, but certainly quite a few are hospitalized. And now we know, too, that a lot of young people are hospitalized. However, I think with the progress that we made, even though it's not that great, it's a beginning. And hopefully people will come up through their research with some type of resolution to this COVID. Now, one of the things, and I don't want to sound like the prophet of doom, I don't mean that at all, but one of the things I do see is I don't think it'll be over in 2022. I think it's going to be beyond that, okay, for us to feel like we were in almost like 1950. But the thing is that I do believe, from what I see around me and from the newscasters who seem to be prophets of doom anyway, the voice of some of the people working in hospitals and so on, there is a glimmer of hope, okay? So, but it's not over yet. And I don't think that the year 22 is going to really see an end of it completely. I think maybe it's going to be something like the flu, okay, which is always with us. That's not gone. And so we annually take our flu shots, hoping that we will be protected from that particular illness throughout the year. But we do take it every year. It's not something we want to not do, okay? A lot of people do without it, but most people take it just to be sure. I have a feeling that there will be a remnant of the vaccine that we will take regularly eventually. Now, first of all, let me say this. I am not in the medical field. I'm just speaking with observation. And I just think that the 2022 is not the end of the COVID, but maybe, and hopefully it's a leveling off of the COVID so that in 2023 and further, we'll be able to get a shot every year, and it hopefully will protect us from serious illness. Even today, when you get the flu, it's pretty serious.
If they can get it to a range that you call manageable, that's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, and I think that's what...
And, let's put it this way. Until COVID, I had always sparred with people that didn't get a flu shot because no matter how often a doctor would say, you can't get the flu from a flu shot. And I think for some reason H1N1 or something like that comes to mind when you think about the flu, that it already has an embedded name that we all get another strain of the H1N1 or whatever the heck it is.
Sure.
And it's the same thing now. I think there will just be variant upon variant of variants coming from COVID for maybe the rest of our lives.
Yes.
And very much like the flu. And maybe even a combination of the two. They already are doing that, aside by each, getting your COVID booster or COVID vaccine shot along with the flu shot. And, and some people I know have lined up and gotten all three. My brother-in-law got a shingle shot, a COVID booster, and his flu shot all in the same day.
And some are talking about a second booster.
And I tend to think that that's extremely possible.
Yes.
And so we'll have to watch that. But manageable in 2023, but your prediction for 2022 is going to be, we're still going to be shaking out a lot of this confusion, crosstalk, and I think you may have said, doom and gloom. If you want to really get a good depression going, just watch some of the all-day newscasters. Hot topics. Oh, here's part 2 of my question then regarding predictions for 2022. Given what you've just put down for the positive or negative, which road are you going to travel? How about this one? Do you think as a result of COVID-19 or just the COVID variants that are out there, have we become more in touch with God, our religion, or less?
I have a feeling that we've become much more in touch with God. Maybe not organized religion, but certainly a recognition that there is a higher power. And I think that, generally speaking, is what a lot of people, I don't want to go out on a limb and say most, but a lot of people certainly recognize a higher being, and they wonder sometimes, are we being punished for something?
Yes.
And again, I call that the prophet of doom as well. Mm-hmm. I don't like to think of it that way. God does not do evil, okay? And I think we have to get that out of our minds, or make sure that we understand that God does not work through evil. What happens is this, that because we have become so advanced technically, scientifically, and all of these things, that we are able to solve a lot more problems than we did even a year ago. They often speak about, we know now a lot more than we did a year ago, so the COVID is a little bit more manageable. Well, yes, it is, and maybe it isn't. But That's what people are saying very often. But I think as we advance scientifically, experimentally, and all of these good things, we'll see that this happens. But also, we have to understand that the virus itself, we don't know where the beginnings of it were. We don't know what caused it, but it certainly wasn't God. Whether it was something that was affected in labs or something that happened in nature or something that happened with the environment. See, God creates good, but there are ways that we can manipulate that good to it becoming evil. I don't think of God as causing this horrible disease.
Did you have, and I wondered about this, I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised that more and more of some of these, I don't want to call them so-called religions. I don't like doing that. Again, not to diminish the
different sects.
Various sects that thought maybe this was the apocalypse, the sign of the apocalypse. I'm surprised there wasn't more of that. More people, preachers, whatever, saying, I promised you, I told you so, and here it is on a platter. It is called COVID. And you better now really, really lean on me and your faith to get you out of this.
I agree with you that there is a certain segment of society, and I don't think it's the majority by any means, but people that do believe that this is a punishment that we are receiving from the Creator. I don't believe that, okay? But there are people that do, and do believe that. And I don't think anything is going to change that. You know, you have people believe whatever they want in so many ways. You have some say the vaccine is evil. It causes illness and so on and so forth. You cannot take the vaccine. And then we realize that, well, most of the people who take the vaccine are not dying, are not ending up in the hospital. I mean, what's wrong with that picture when you say the vaccine is causing evil? Well, so...
And by the way, that will take 15, 20 years, if that were indeed the case. The same thing would have occurred with polio shots, measles shots.
I would have think so, sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you're thinking of flu as well. I mean, are we talking birth defects? Are we talking heart? Are we talking brain fuzz? It's a tumbleweed that just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling.
And accumulates.
And it accumulates friends, and the wind seems to get stronger by the day sometimes.
Sure.
So I'm sure there are people within the Catholic Church that think that this was as well.
Well, people are people, so
yeah.
It doesn't matter what religion they follow.
That's true.
They're going to have this thought or that thought, whatever the case may be. I was speaking even among families. You have members of the family that are opposing vaccination. On the other hand, that's not everybody. So It's a small group of people. That's what they believe. But I think it's a small group of people that believe that this is the apocalypse, and it's certainly not the end of the world. Let me put it this way. It's something that we're living through, and it's difficult, it's horrible, but whenever people suffered polio, they felt the same way.
Yep.
Whenever people suffered the flu without vaccines, they felt the same way. So it's a matter of we feel that way because we see friends dying, and we see... Unfortunately, on the TV, you see a lot of the newscasters, actors, actresses who have died suddenly, and people assuming that it was the COVID.
Right.
But most of them are of age to die. I hate to be so crass about it, but that's the way it seems to me. The people that are dying, there are some dying young, but that's not all the cases.
You know, I think that the interesting thing, too, is that another area that we had to unfortunately deal with is the loss of friends and family, in my case, losing my sister. And, of course, we were advised by the funeral director to put in the obituary non-COVID because earlier in the year and including this entire year, people were just leaning on COVID to blame for everything. So to summarize then, 2022 will, in Father Joe Grimaldi's eyes, and I don't want to paint this incorrectly, but basically it will be, as you always are, optimistic, but more sort of a 3-wood for the golfers out there, just trying to hit a nice shot right down the middle. We kind of know what's on both sides, and that can be trouble. So let's just keep it nice and safe, but we're not going to be out of those woods totally until possibly 2023. And at the same time, the good news to come forth as well is the fact that people maybe had a real reason to reconnect with God and believe that there is a higher power, and that, by golly, we better be leaning on this person now more than ever.
Yeah, I think God and us meet in different ways, whether it's pain, whether it's sickness, whether it's the death of a loved one, whether it's the birth of a child. God and we meet in different ways. We're in the beginning of a new year. We ask God to give us the strength and courage to face any of the challenges that come about. We ask Him to bless us, as He usually does, gracefully, with good health and happiness. We ask this in the name of Jesus the Lord. Amen. God bless you all. This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe Podcast.
We'd like to remind you to share the Father Joe podcast with your friends. You can reach Father Joe at frjoepodcast@gmail.com, and you can find us on Facebook or say, Alexa, play the Father Joe podcast. We look forward to seeing you next time.